Pre-Calc 2.5, homework, page 124, questions 5 through 51, every other odd. Number 5 through 10, you are asked to represent the given interval on a number line. So to graph this, 0 to 8 would be a parenthesis at 0 and a bracket at 8. You would shade everything in between. Skip 7, number 9. It's negative infinity to 0 with a bracket. That would be on your number line. You would have a bracket at 0 and you would shade to the left. Questions 11 through 16, you're to use interval notation and denote the set of all real numbers x that satisfy the given inequality. So if we skip 11 and do 13, number 13, it says negative 3 less than x less than 14. Well, on a number line, it would look like negative 3 and 14, everything colored in. So in interval notation, it would just simply be a parenthesis, negative 3, 14 with a parenthesis. Skip 15. Number 17, you're asked to solve the inequality and express your answer in interval notation. Number 17, your problem is 2x plus 4 is less than or equal to 7. So you would subtract 4. 2x is less than or equal to 3 and divide by 2. So x is less than or equal to 3 halves. So to graph the inequality would be at 3 halves, you would darken this side of the number line, and your answer in interval notation would be parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, 3 halves with a bracket. You would skip 19 and do 21. 21, the question is 6x plus 3 is less than or equal to x minus 5. So we would subtract an x. You get 5x plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 5. Then subtract 3. 5x is less than or equal to negative 8. Divide by 5. And x is less than or equal to negative 8/5. That would be a parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, negative 8/5 with a bracket. 23 we skip, so we're going to do 25. Number 25 says 2 is less than 3x minus 4 less than 8. This is an and problem. We're going to add 4 to both sides. 6 is less than 3x less than 12. Divide by 3. So 2 is less than x less than 4. So in other words, the solution is between 2 and 4. And so in interval notation, it would be 2 comma 4, parentheses. We're going to skip 27 and we're going to do 29. 29 says 2x plus 7 times 3x minus 2 is less than 2 times x minus 1. So we're going to distribute the 7. We get 21x minus 14 less than 2x minus 2. On the left side, these two add to be 23x. We're going to subtract 2x to get the x's together. So we get 21x minus 14 is less than negative 2. And I would add 14. So 21x is less than 12. Divide by 21. And these can be reduced, this fraction can be reduced by 3. 12 goes into 3 4 times, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So your answer is x is less than 4/7. In interval notation, that would look like negative infinity to 4/7 parenthesis. Skip 31, we're going to do 33. 33 says 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 5x plus 6, less than negative 3x plus 7. This one, we want to break this up into two problems. That would be one of them. So we have 2x plus 3 is less than or equal to 5x plus 6. That's one half. The other half would be, right here, 5x plus 6 is less than negative 3x plus 7. So first get the x's together. Subtract 2x. So we have 3 is less than or equal to 3x plus 6. Subtract 6. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 3x. Divide by 3. So negative 1 is less than or equal to x, or x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Same thing. And the answer, the problem is an and. In this side, we're going to add 3x. You're going to get 8x. We're going to subtract 6, and you're going to get 1. So x is less than 1/8. So x is less than 1/8. So x is bigger than negative 1, and it's less than 1/8. So your answer would be negative 1 with a bracket, comma, 1/8 with a parenthesis. We can skip 35, and we're going to do, we're actually going to skip 37 and go to 41. 41. 41, we have x squared minus 4x plus 3 is less than or equal to 0. This one, what we're going to do is factor this left side. We get x minus 1 times x minus 3. So our zeros are 1 and 3. So we're going to draw a number line, and we're going to graph these two numbers in their correct order, 1 and 3. We have three regions, A, B, C. Region A goes from negative infinity to 1. Region B is from 1 to 3. And region C is from 3 to infinity. We're going to test a point in each of these regions, and we're going to plug it in to see if the number, the product that we get is less than, this is a 0, my bad. So left of 1 is the good number 0. If we were to plug a 0 here and here, we would end up with a negative times a negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive, and a positive number is not less than 0. So this did not work. If we plug in the number 2, we end up with a positive times a negative. And a positive times a negative is a negative. So a negative number is less than 0. So this region works. In region C, if we picked a number like 5, you're going to get a positive times a positive. And that a positive times a positive is a positive. This region does not work. So now looking back, if the bar is there, we're going to include these two zeros. So our answer is going to be brackets with 1 and 3. So the final answer is 1, 3 brackets. Now we're going to do question 45. Question 45 says 8 plus x minus x squared is less than or equal to 0. Now this one, we're going to rewrite it. Let's rewrite it as negative x squared plus x plus 8 less than or equal to 0. I'd like to get rid of this negative. Let's divide everything by negative 1. Okay, now I can't factor this, so I have to use the quadratic formula. So it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We need to find the 0 since we can't factor it. So we have opposite of negative 1 is positive 1, plus or minus, negative 1 squared is 1, minus 4, a is 1, and c is negative 8. all over 2 times 1, which is 2. So I have 1 plus or minus, this is going to be 1 plus 32, which is 33, over 2. So I don't know where these numbers are, so I'm going to use my calculator to convert them into decimals. So let's see, where is 1 plus and where is 1 minus the square root of 33 over 2? So 1 minus the square root of 33 and then divide that by 2. I get negative 2.37 is one answer, approximately, I'm rounding. And then 1 plus the square root of 33, and then divide that by 2, is 3.37. Okay, so let's put our numbers on a graph to see where they're at. So we have over here, so negative 2.37. Negative 2.37, which the exact answer for this one would be 1 minus root 33 over 2. That's what that is. And then the other one is 3.37, and this is 1 plus root 33 over 2. So looking at this, if we were to plug a number to the left of this, and in the middle and in the right, we want to see what works. So let's plug in, let's use negative 3. So negative 3, we have 3 intervals. We have negative infinity to this number right here. That's our first interval. So 1 minus root 33 over 2. If we picked like negative 3, if you put a negative 3 in here, you'd have to evaluate this and see if it works. So what is 8 plus, which is, we're going to say negative 3, so minus 3, minus, and then we're going to do negative 3 squared, which is going to be a 9. So what's 8 minus 3, which is 5, and then minus, this is going to give you a 9. That's going to give you a negative number. Is a negative number less than 0? Yes, it is. So this region works. Okay, now let's put in a number like in between negative 2.37 and 3.37, like 0. So a region between negative 2.37 and 3.37, like 0. If you plugged a 0 here and a 0 here, you would get 8 plus 0 and then minus 0. And that number's bigger. 8 plus 0 is 8. That is not less than 0. So this does not work. This region will also work right here. If you plug in a number like, let's say 4 or 5. If you plug in a number like 5 and you did 8 plus 5, so I'm going to do it here. 8 plus 5 minus 5 squared, that's going to be minus 25. That region, 13 minus 25, is a negative number. This region will work. So our answer is going to be a weird one. It's going to be negative infinity, comma, 1 minus root 33 over 2. And we're going to use brackets because we're including these. And then union 1 plus root 33 over 2, comma, infinity. And we're done with that one. It was a tough one. And we're going to skip 49 and we can do 51. 51 is x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 4 is less than 0. Now this one, we're going to see what factors to be a 4, but adds to be a negative 5. So we have x squared minus 4 and x squared minus 1. So now we're going to find our two zeros here. X squared minus 4 equals 0, and x squared minus 1 equals 0. These are easy. Add 4 and root both sides. So you're going to get plus or minus 2, and over here x squared equals 1, x is equal to plus or minus, you got to take the square root of both sides, 1. So we have 4 zeros. We have in order -2, -1, 1, and 2. Now this is a big one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regions that we have to test. So here we go. We're going to test from negative infinity to -2, -2 to -1, -1 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to positive infinity. Okay, so we're looking for where we get a number less than 0. So if we test a point like -3 or -4 or -5, any negative, let's do -4. Let's test -4. If we plug -4 here, we're going to get, and if you wanted to even break this up even further, you could. For example, you could make this would be easier, x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 1, x plus 1. That's fully factored. So when we test -4, you're going to say, if you put a -4 here, a -4 here, a -4 here, and a -4 here, you're going to get a negative here, a negative here, a negative here, and a negative here. Well, 4 negatives multiplied together is positive, and a positive number is not less than 0. So this region doesn't work. Let's try -1.5. So if we put -1.5 here, -1.5, this is going to be a negative number. -1.5, that's going to be positive. This is going to be negative. And -1.5, that's going to be a negative. So we have 3 negative numbers. When we multiply 3 negative numbers, you get a negative, so that's going to be less than 0. So this region works. This is good. Okay, now we're going to try, let's try 0. If we try 0, you're going to get a negative, positive, negative, and positive. So 2 negatives give you a positive. That doesn't work. Let's try, let's say 1.5. If we put 1.5 here, you're going to get a negative, positive, positive, and a positive. So you have an odd number of negatives. This works right here. And this region will not work because they're all going to be positive. So we don't even have to waste our time. So what is the answer? Should we include these critical numbers? No, because there's no bar here. So we're going to put parentheses in between on all these critical numbers. So let's clean up our answer. The answer would be for this one, it'd be parenthesis -2, -1, union 1, comma 2. With no brackets because there is no equality at these critical numbers. And we are done.